Baylor football coach Dave Aranda with me, David Smoak on 365 Sports. What is just the feeling of getting a win, coming off a bye week, and just kind of resetting whoever you might be?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think of our players first of all, because it's coming off of losses. It's so down, and you bring them. Everyone involved try so hard to bring them back up and back to life, and there's a hope and a vigor and everything kind of going into it. And you want them to have success, and so when you have success in that, it just adds to the trust and belief, and then I think it gives them some of the bye. Guys are going back home and with their families, and I think for a lot of them, they want to just relax, hang out, and then the questions are always about the team, about football. You can't. There is no getting away, and so I think this adds some. This can kind of help with that, and so I think of that. I think of our coaches and their families, and I think of just all the work that the guys are going through, and for the last maybe month, everyone in this place was sick, and was getting their family sick, and just being sick and losing, and it was kind of it was all a thing, and so to get to the other side of that, and then we're really trying to have a run with this is exciting. So I think of those things, and then I think of that we got to make a run with this, and so we've got to be able to get, hey, this is the process, this is the mindset, this is the expectation, and kind of get all of that, and just the visualization of what this can be, we can end the season with a bunch of wins. We can end the season being so much more improved. We can be the team that we thought that we were from the very beginning, and so I think there's guys just within losing that lose the sight of that, and so much is bringing that back into focus.
You've met with players before, but during the broadcast there was the notion, or at least the thought, you had a conversation with several players, and correct me if I'm wrong, the thought is they don't want you to like the rah-rah stuff, which of course fans want to see more intensity. They wanted more, what? This is what we're supposed to do, X's and O's, play football?
Yeah, appreciate that. I think there are some young players that when the rah-rah stuff would go, I think would just kind of add to maybe an anxiety or just an uncertainty or just probably not a full confidence in their abilities. It would add to that. And I could see that. I was giving one of those talks prior to the Tech game, and we have freshman O-linemen, and it's in the locker room, and I'm saying these things, and I'm trying to get it kind of up, and I'm looking over him, and his face was just not it. I think I scared him. So I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that, but that's just not where our team is at this moment. And so to talk more about, hey, this is what we're asking you to do. Here's all the examples of you doing it, right? Here's going against the best that we have on this field, practice field, and here's you winning it, right? Here's everyone, stand up, look behind you. Here's everyone in this room has got your back. The coaches have got your back. And just, it's more of that. And it's like, let's take this to that stadium. Let's take this to this game time. And I think, when it's that way, I think there's much more of a freedom for guys to go out and kind of get out of their own way. And so I think that's been the path.
Because of who you are, when you put together a staff, do you purposely add people to the mix that are probably a little bit more temperamental or more outwardly personable as far as the, not rah-rah, but just maybe a little bit more energetic?
Yeah, I think you have to. I appreciate that question. You have to have a mix. I think it can't be, I think the levels of degree are important though. Like I imagine there'll be some people on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 1 or a 2. And so if that's the case, it's probably, I can't have like a 9 or a 10. But so if it was a 6 or a 7, or maybe even a 5 or a 6, 6 or a 7, then I think that'd be good. And I think I've found that out since being here. But that balance, I think, is important. And because what you're aiming for is balance. I think if you have a 1 and you have a 9, I don't know if that is balance. But if you can even it out a little bit more than that, it's helpful.
I asked you this a couple of weeks ago when things weren't good, but as far as the staff and them looking in the mirror themselves, and I asked you as a coach what you do, how have they handled the criticism or looking at the truth serum? Because it is not an easy job, but again, they're paid well. So how have they handled that?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about that. I think that they're all way professional, and so their heads are down and everything. I think they enjoy being here in this building because I think we're all kind of going through the same thing, and there's not the questions and the interrogations on the outside of it, and so there's more of, hey, I'm here, I got people that believe in me and got my back, and I can just go to work. And so I think there's that. And so when you do if that's the setting of it, and then you need to push your people to get better, and you need to be able to push them to not be comfortable and to not, that's the trick. And I think so much of that is seeing things. I think that, I think we all have blind spots, and I think we're all, I was talking to my son Ronan about some of his favorite movies, and there's a bunch of villains that he likes, and he's naming all the movies, and they're all just based upon just like the bad guys and stuff. And so it's like, but from his view, and I think he's right, is that the bad guys don't think they're bad. The villains, they all have a belief in what they're doing, and when they're convicted, what they're doing is right. And so I just think, there's blind spots, and so if you can help them, we're going back to our staff now. If you can help them with their seeing, and that widen the perspective and zoom out and see, hey, I know we want to be able to get this accomplished, but right now we're really not good at it. Can we move the spotlight somewhere else and still work on this, but in critical moments do something else? Or, hey, I know we really want to be able to help, this player develop. Let's help him develop. But can we take the load off of him and put it on, because I think when you aren't seeing things right, you can get caught up in identifying with the thing that's not right, and your self-worth's involved in it, and so then you dig in and you fight to the end, and it's not good for you, it's not good for the team, it's not good for that. And so I think the detachment helps with that, and so I try to be able to do that.
Colton Price starts at center. I get the impression it was time for him. Emotionally, he was ready to play, just based on the feedback I get, and it put Barrington back to where he was an All-American. That was done during the off week. Was that ever thought about doing prior to that?
Yes, it was. And I think, it's one of those things to where I think it ties in with what we just talked about. I think it's hard. I think it's just to see things clear. And when things are not going well, it's what to hold on to and save, what things to let go of. And, it can be, all of that can be kind of a scary thing. But I think that's where kind of, I think genius lies in that, though, man. I think that's where creativity is. I think that's where innovation is. I think that's where that space right there. And so, we talked about it about 2 weeks prior to this. And so, looking back, I wish we would have done it, But I'm glad that we did it now. And, Colton's got a bunch of nasty in him, and it's just a physical, tough. He didn't back down one bit. I mean, we had to pull him back some.
Can that be contagious?
Yes. Yeah, and Clark, too. Clark is just a mean dude. And I just think, on Saturday, it was, Clark's had to have been everybody's dad, and he's got some of that in him, but he's more of the big brother that can go and settle a dispute, and so he can be that now.
How do you, with the wins and losses being attached to you, when things aren't good, how do you handle that yourself?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I always try to look at, what are the things we can do better? why is this happening? I think of people that are affected by it. I think of where I can be to try to help. Are there things I'm not seeing right? Are there things that are, what's crazy is that, the universe will keep telling you something until you kind of stand up and listen to it. And, you have to, I think so much of it is that. And, I hear, see, you gotta get the right view of it. And, I try to be there with our people so that we can all see it and hear it the same way, be on the same page. Second thing is the process. Like, what are we doing that's not working? Let's think through all of the things, and if something's not working, what can we do better? And then the mindset would be the third thing. And so, going into it, there can be, when you lose sometimes, there can be going through the motions. There can be, hey, I'm going to do all these things, but it ain't really going to mean anything because I know, we're not a good team, we're going to lose and all that. And so you really have to be intentional about that. There's like these silent forces where if you don't specifically address the person, the player, or the coach, and dig into what's happening in their life and what's they're feeling, these silent forces will overrun you, especially when losses pile up. And so, it could be playing time, it could be my future, it could be, noise, it could be production, lack of production. And so you have to, and it's not that those things are so strong, they overrun you. They overrun you because you don't engage with them. You don't spend the time to see them. You don't reach out and touch those things. And so, people, process, and mindset, I think, are way strong. So I do all that. And then, I don't know, I've never been, I think it's never been too attached to the wins and losses. And so I think it's, if I were to be tested on some type of scale, there'd probably be something that would show up, some type of spectrum number or something. I don't know. But I think one of the benefits of that is that these things don't ever really get to me too much.
One more thing. You brought up just there for the right. Monterey said that in a postgame a couple of weeks ago after Tech, that there were guys that were just there for the ride. One, he was one of those in the doghouse because he put himself there. How much did it help that he spoke out and that it shows that he's gotten it now? Yeah,
I think it's huge. Yeah, I think there's guys, you look at I think Gabe Hall is a guy that's playing really good football right now. I think TJ Franklin on the sidelines of this past game, we did not play well defensively. And in the past, TJ would be one that would ride the wave of when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. And TJ's on the sideline just getting in guys' faces and challenging them, and this is not us. And it's just, and then there'd be another bust and another touchdown, and he gets back and he does the same thing. And so it's just strong growth right there, man. I think that's obviously we don't want to be in that situation where those points are given up, but in terms of just him and from where he's been to where he is now, I think it's way cool. And it's taken everybody, including him, to get to this point. And so I think he's one. I think Matt Jones is another one that just has just evolved. And, I think it's hard because it's like, you'd like to be able to control all of that and push a button and say, hey, this is going to happen today, and this is going to be understood today, and this is all going to connect and make sense today, but you don't control it. And so you can do your very best to influence it. And I think the best way to influence is to be an example of it, so that they can see you as someone that can be trusted.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach on 365 Sports. We will be back.